Hi everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be working on a simple little plot project, and I'm going to try to make it so that you use what you have on hand, because right now that's pretty much what we all have to work with. And it's a beginner's journal because it's quite simple, and it can be completed very quickly, I believe, and then a few hours in the afternoon, and it also will make a cute little gift. So this is sort of the preliminary. This is like the size of the little journal, and then the back of the journal will be the place for writing, and there's going to be pages to it. So I have not totally constructed this one, which is what we're going to be doing. You will need either a file folder, one file folder, or some cardstock. And you'll need cardstock that you can cut up into 2¼ across and 8 inches down. So it'll be 2¼ by 8-inch size piece of cardstock. And I would recommend that you that you glue together 2 pieces of cardstock to make one of those little sleeves. So let me just go ahead and get started here on cutting up. Oh yeah, with file folders, you'll need to cut off this little, you'll notice there's this little curve here on the edge of it. You're going to need to cut that off so that it's even. There we go. Now, if you don't have a a cutter that will cut through the file folder, it might be too heavy when it's folded, then you can just cut it in half and then cut each piece separately if you'd like to do it that way too. So let's just make a couple of so there is your 5 pieces. So you'll probably need 10 pieces of cardstock. And you know, it just depends on how heavy your cardstock is. I really like it to be, you know, pretty good weight. So the file folder I'm using is an extra heavy. You can use the dollar store ones again. If you would just glue them together, you should be able to use those. So it doesn't need to be as heavy as chipboard, but it does need to be nice and solid. And of course that does depend upon what, if you're going to put anything wet on it, any kind of painting and things like that nature, the thicker the better to hold up with that. So once I've got all these strips, now I am going to cut off and make them 8 inches. Okay, what's nice about the file folders is because there is, if you glue the 2 sides together, what's nice about them is that they're already just ready to close up. You don't have to align them or anything. You just have to put your little glue down here like this and fold it up. And that's what makes the file folder so handy, but not that you can't use cardstock, like I said. So here we have our little 5 pages of our little journal. I am going to put a link down below of different people who have done this particular journal style. This first appeared in the summer 2019 Somerset Magazine, and it was an article by Sharon Hoerth, and she did not join these together into a journal. She did like bookmark style, and so after that came out, there was quite a few people that had turned them into journals, and one of the people is a Creative Cafe Girl, and I'm going to put a link down below, and so that you can see, you know, what she did and how she did it. But she came up with the idea of joining these different 5 pages, and then they just sort of fold up like an accordion type of style. So anyways, once you have all this done, the first thing that I did was to put some kind of a background on it. Now, Creative Cafe Girl used time cards, and she cut them slender like this, and she used time cards for the background. But I didn't have any, and not everyone does. So this is why I thought the file folder or cardstock in this sort of a creamy manila type of color would be really a good base. Now, there's different ways of putting the background in, of course. You could do, if you have paper at home, if you have scrapbook paper, you can cut up scrapbook paper and put this down below. What I'm using here is a free printout from Artymaze that she has generously and beautifully prepared for us to download, and I'll put that link down below. But that's what this is, or you can use scrapbook paper. I would, however, choose something that's kind of subtle and kind of blends into the background so that it doesn't deter from the collaging that we are going to do on these. You know, we're going to do each one, we're going to collage up. So that's one thing you could put down for the background. Another idea is, if you do not have a colored printer, well, that's no problem. You can print out some free music paper, music sheets, and this is just a black and white printer, and I got this at 8notes.com, and they have all kinds of free music sheets, and I went into the classical section because I didn't really want any words. But you could print this out, and you can glue this on for your background as well. Be pretty background, and if you didn't like the bright white, you can always come in with distress ink, you know, and you can distress it up a little bit and kind of like darken it, or you can actually use either napkins, you know, decoupage a napkin on there. You can decoupage maybe some old pattern paper. This is one of my favorite things to put for a background because it's nice and vintage looking. You could decoupage over that. Let's see, you could also, if you didn't want music paper, you could just get plain tea dyed paper that you have tea dyed and just glue it on, and it can be a background for you, you know, especially if you had some grunginess in it. Or one last thing, you can just get a piece of an old book and take out a sheet and put that on as your background. So you have different options. I just wanted to give you different options because I know not everyone has a color printer and not everyone has scrapbook paper or whatever. Anyway, so those are things that you can do for your background. Now, I will show you what I did for my background, and that is, if you can see, I stamped. I took, well, first of all, I took coffee and took really strong coffee and just put it into a little spray bottle, and I just squirted my pieces and let them dry. And then I went back in and just took some random stamping for the background. So that's another way that you can come up with a background. I'm going to work on this one here, and I'll show you what I pretty much did for the background. I just, you know, I got some distress ink, and it's fairly simple and straightforward. And just I got this really cool stamp. I believe I got this from Stampabilities, and so I just randomly put a couple. Now you don't want, you know, it to be actually, you know, the more spacey it is, the less dark it is, or the less perfect the stamp is. actually, I think is the better. These stamps is Bo Bunny postage stamp set. So, and I'm not even using the block. I am just kind of coming in there like that, because by not using the block, you actually have a better I have better results, because it's just not a clear stamp. It's just wherever your fingers happens to press down. So it's more random. That's what I'm trying to look for. I'm looking for the word random. It's more of a random stamp than anything else. And I got some other stamps here. I have no idea where I got them. I don't know. Had them for a while. So my theme is going to be the vintage, obviously. And that's the other thing that, you have to kind of figure out. I would suggest that you gather up all of your scraps and fabric pieces and lacy pieces and I don't know, whatever you have around. Gather that all up first and kind of like take an assessment of a theme or a color you want to go into. You could even use magazines. Absolutely could use magazines and make it very graphic. Use brighter colors and make it a fun graphic type of a journal, where you might put, cut words out of advertisements or whatever and make a funny little saying, and different images. So anything goes, really, anything goes with this. So there's my background. So that's what I did with all 5 pieces, is I put the background in. Now, theoretically, you could put your background in before you actually cut the pieces up. But I kind of like doing it this way, because I am looking at each of these pieces in the beginning as an individual canvas. So I kind of wanted to do it like that. But theoretically, you could do the whole file folder or the cardstock, just put the background in right away and then cut them up. That would give you even more random, probably. So I am just going to quickly collage this little piece together, and to spare you the agony of watching me pick everything out, I kind of like picked it out ahead of time. But I just thought, well, it might be kind of fun just to show one. I'm just going to do one, or maybe I might do 2, or, creation. That's kind of what I did. But some people lay them all out together and then do them like one large panel. So I don't think that either way, but you may want to experiment with that. You may want to lay them all out and then you create as if it's one big large collage. What I like about this, perhaps for beginners, is that it might feel less intimidating to collage a small piece rather than collage a large piece. And I do not attach my panels together before I collage. Now, some people have done that. They attach them all together with either cloth or, whatever they have, and then they do it. But I felt that that was probably I don't know. I kind of felt like I couldn't treat each one as their own individual project if I did that. And so, anyways, this is, and I also liked it because if I made a mistake, I don't think there really is a mistake in new collage, but you may feel like there is one, or you didn't really care for one. You did it and you got done. You go like, oh, I don't really care for it. Don't throw it away. Do not throw it away. Just put it aside and just think about it for a little while and come back to it. And then you can go on to the next one. I would like to make this into more of a ticket look. So if you just take a round punch and just kind of go into the very corner. Now, if I had a smaller round punch, this would be a lot better. You know, it's a little bit more, it isn't as nice of a curve as it would be if I had a smaller punch, but it is sort of, you can see it kind of makes it more into a ticket shape if you put that little hole punch on the different corners. And I'm going to come in here and ink because everything needs to be ink in my vintage collage. All right, here we go. Just put this in here. Oh, I should have refilled my glue. Okay. I hope everyone is staying occupied. Really, I think once, you know, of course, being a crafter, that has not been an issue with me. But in, like my daughter, who's not really a crafter, I think she has just found to be busy in so many things that she had not had time for before. And one thing she's having fun with is learning new recipes and new homemaking projects. All right, I'm just going to put this little piece of lace at the side there. I know that I never really expected to be lonely at all because I'm rather an introvert. I don't really get out that much, but I am finding that I'm really missing it. I'm missing just getting in the car and going someplace. It's kind of funny, the little things you miss. All right. Okay, another reason I like to work with them individually in the beginning is that sometimes if I have a piece and it's overlapping and I don't want it to overlap, I can just come in here and snip it off right now. I don't have to size it up before I glue it on. I can just glue it on and then snip it off. You can let things hang you know, every way, but this way might be a little, might get into the bend of the journal and clog it up a little bit. So usually the side that is going to be attached with the other side, I make it kind of clean. Anyway, so, but here on the end and in the beginning, you know, you can let things kind of hang around, hang off. So now we're going to talk about putting these together. And there's a couple of options that I can think of, and I'm sure there are more options out there. One is an obvious one, and that is strips of cloth. And this is a strip of an old pillowcase that I've been, you know, taking strips off, and I coffee dyed it and frayed it. So this is one way to connect them. And so what you're going to do, just put them over here, is you are going to put a bead of glue down here on the edge and put down one, another bead of glue on the edge, and you're going to put the other one down, but you have to be careful to allow at least 1/8 of an inch between the two pages so that it allows the journal to flip. Okay, so if you don't have cloth, that's what I wanted to do, give you another option. Another option would be if you have some really wide washi tape. That would be a really good hinge as well. So what you're looking for is hinges to go in there. You could put down the washi tape, and I would recommend you still putting a bead of glue along here. And then, because the washi tape probably will not hold over time. And then you can just, put it down like so. Put another bead of glue on this side, and of course leaving that little bit of room there, and then taking another piece of washi tape and putting it down on this side. So if you use the washi tape, you will have to put all your pages together at one time, because I don't think the one washi tape will hold it well, plus it's still sticky here. So you will have to put down the washi tape before you begin your collage if you're going to be using that. So you'll want 2 strips of washi tape down here with glue underneath it, and that would work as a hinge. Another thing that might work, and because I have not tried this out, but and that's to take cardstock. Or no, take like tea stain paper. Take your score and make a score down here. I'm going to fold it, but a score would be probably a lot straighter. So you would just put down this little hinge. Glue this down here. And glue this down here with that folded place in the middle there. And that would create a hinge as well. So those are 3 different ways that you can do it, and I'm sure if you gave it more thought, you would come up with some more ways to do this. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and use the cloth. Now normally I would glue it with a glue stick and then go back and stitch it, but I'm not going to do that today. I am just going to do the gluing. No sewing today, because not everybody is inclined to sew or has a machine to sew with. And here we go. So I'm just going to put the glue down here, like so. And stick it down. And this strip of cloth is like 1 inch. It's a little bit, it's a good, generous inch wide. I'll just stick this down here, allowing for that 1/8 of an inch in between. So I am going to do the rest of them, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, the hinges have all been glued in. So now your little journal will fold up like in the cardigan style, like this. And then you can take a little tie or string, whatever you wish to secure it with. And there is your little journal. Cute is that? Is so cute. Now I do have more to do on this. I do want to do more collaging, and I'll probably let this set like overnight. For me, that works really well, just to kind of put on a first layer and then I come back to it later. The back, you see, is all plain. This is for writing. I am thinking about perhaps gluing in some lined paper that kind of would tell a person who wasn't familiar with this that here's where you write, sort of. If you were going to make this as a gift, it might be kind of nice to maybe do this in the back. Um, you know, just to encourage people to write in it if they so choose. While I was putting this together, I thought, how cute would this be to make this a card? And you would just, put the binding here, decorate this side, and you might even decorate in here or here, and then put your greeting here. You could, glue in some lined paper and write, happy birthday or whatever it is you want, any kind of a greeting. But what a cute little card that would be. Just really cute. And what's really lovely is that this little card will fit into a business envelope, right? Just like that. Yay! So I am going to stop there. I just wanted to show you this little project that encourage you to use what you have, play around with this. Like I say, I think it'd be a cute little gift, or it's like you can just journal for an event where you just want to record an event, whatever that might be. So I'm going to leave you with that. I will make probably a shabby chic one, and I might even put this in my Etsy shop. So we'll see how that goes in the future. But anyways, I hope that inspired you to give this a try, and I hope you'll have fun doing it, and stay healthy and stay well, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.